The bell that rang twice. London keeps its secrets layered, brick over bone, fog over memory. Most people walk through it unaware, but if you listen closely, the city still speaks. It was nearly midnight when the bell rang at St. Olave's. That alone was not strange. The church had stood beside the Thames for centuries, its bell a faithful marker of hours long past relevance. What unsettled me was the second ring, sharp, deliberate, 5 seconds after the first. The bell had not rung twice in over 100 years. I stood across the street beneath a flickering gas lamp, collar turned up against the mist. The fog clung low, as if reluctant to leave the ground, muffling the city until even my own breath sounded intrusive. I checked my pocket watch. Midnight, precisely. Then, again, the bell rang once more. I had been asked to come by a letter delivered that morning. No return address, no signature. Only a sentence written in cramped ink. The bell will ring tonight. When it does, follow the sound. You owe London that much. I told myself I owed London nothing. Still, I was there. The church doors were ajar. Inside, the air smelled of damp stone and extinguished candles. Moonlight filtered through stained glass, breaking into bruised colours across the pews. At the far end of the nave stood the bell rope, swaying gently. But there was no one pulling it. "Hello?" My voice echoed too loudly. Behind the altar, a narrow staircase led down, older than the church above it. I hesitated only a moment before descending. The steps spiraled into darkness, each one worn hollow by centuries of use. The bell rang again. This time it came from below. At the base of the stairs lay a crypt, low-ceilinged, cramped, its walls lined with alcoves. Coffins rested half-exposed, their brass plates dulled to green. In the centre of the room stood a small iron bell mounted on a pedestal. Beside it knelt a man. He wore a long black coat, the cut outdated, his hair streaked with grey. He did not turn when I approached. "You shouldn't have come," he said quietly. "You rang the bell," I replied. "Twice." "That means you heard it," he said. "Which means you're already involved." He rose slowly and faced me. His eyes were sharp, alert, too alive for a place so full of the dead. "Do you remember Thomas Avery?" he asked. The name struck like cold water. "I buried him," I said. 7 years ago." "Yes," the man nodded. "And before that?" I said nothing. Thomas Avery had been found floating near Blackfriars, his pockets filled with stones. The inquest ruled it a suicide. I had testified as witness to his troubled state, his debts, his despair. All of it true. Not all of it complete. "He didn't jump," the man said. "He was pushed." "You can't prove that." "I don't need to," he replied. "The bell already has." He gestured to the iron bell. Its surface was etched with names, dozens of them, some barely legible, others fresh. At the bottom, newly carved, was Thomas Avery. "This bell rings for unfinished deaths," the man said, "for lies spoken in ink and oath. It rings once for the dead and twice for the living who bound them there." My throat tightened. "You swore he was unstable," the man continued. "You swore you saw him near the river that night, but you didn't." I remembered the fog, the argument, Thomas begging me not to publish the ledger, proof of bribes paid through the docks. I remembered the shove. "You took his life," the man said calmly. "But worse, you let London forget." "What happens now?" I asked. He stepped aside, revealing the rope attached to the iron bell. "Now," he said. "You ring it." I backed away. "I won't." "You will," he said softly. "Or it will ring on its own, and when it does, the river listens." The fog thickened, seeping into the crypt. I felt the weight of every name etched into the bell, every story buried for convenience. My hand closed around the rope. The bell rang once. Then, 5 seconds later, it rang again. The sound travelled upward through stone and street and water. When I looked back, the man was gone. By morning they found my coat on the riverbank near Blackfriars. The inquest ruled it a suicide. But sometimes, late at night, when the fog settles low, London swears it hears a bell, ringing twice, and the city remembers.